And it says hip hop has an anti-vaccine problem. It says as society battles the pandemic, multiple rappers have spread anti-vaccine misinformation, aiding in the distrust Black people have for the health industry. And they quoted a bar from a joint that Russ has with Crooked Eye called "Tricked," where he referenced the bar about vaccines being linked to autism and things like that. And I think it was 𝗀𝗡𝗄 who said stay away from the vaccines. I repeat, stay away from them vaccines. Offset came out and said he's refusing to take the vaccine. And these are all rappers that have huge followings. Even the article referenced Big Sean's lead single Deep Reverence, for his album. And it's, you think about it, these rappers have a huge influence. We're aware of that. We talk about it all the time. We talked about Lupe last week. He's talking about his concerts and the concept of requiring people to have it before they come into the show. So there's a lot of people that are listening to these artists, and they do have that huge influence. So how do you guys feel about that? Lone, I'll come to you first on this one. From a standpoint of the stance that the rappers are taking, what do you think, man? Like, because everybody has a right to their own opinion, but these people are heavy influences within the culture. A lot of people listen to what they say.
I mean, the article is a pretty good, thorough article written by, I think it's 𝗀𝗱𝗱 𝗀𝗱𝗱. I could have pronounced her name wrong, so I apologize if I've done that.
Yep.
And it's thorough, and she outlines rappers from Royce to 5ix9ine to Freddie Gibbs to Nas and the sentiments, but these sentiments aren't really new. I think Jay kind of touched on it last week a little bit when I believe it was Jay that talked about the distrust that Black people would have for vaccines in general.
Oh yeah, because we started talking about all the other places.
Because I believe I think that's more so what her article is aimed at, because she says aiding in the distrust Black people have for the health industry. So to that point, I think, let me just put it this way. I think an easy solution to this, and Jay also mentioned this last week, is have the people that are giving the vaccine out also take the vaccine.
Right.
Like if the doctors and such are not taking the vaccine, if high political people are not taking the vaccine, if people of influence and power are not taking the vaccine, it's going to help curb that whole element completely, to be honest. And then this conversation kind of gets a little bit smaller. Yeah. But we as Americans, I seen the comments says American arrogance, which absolutely, but at the same time, like we're at a place in history right now in America specifically where there's a lot of distrust in our country. And, we have a whole bunch of people, and I mentioned this last week, that won't even validate the election, right? And then we're at a place where everything is really kind of turned political. And this is also another political item. So I think a solution to that would be to how they administer it and, real-time tracking and all that stuff. But I'll go ahead and pass my time because I'm sure you guys have thoughts on that.
That's real. That you made some good points, and shout out to the chat too as well. They definitely are definitely engaged on this one. Jay Diff, what do you think, man, in terms of the rappers saying anti-vaccine messages or giving those out? What's your initial feeling when you see that or hear that?
And it's pretty much the same as it was last week when we discussed it briefly, talking about what's his name, who said that his art, that people had to have vaccines to come to his show. Who was that? Lupe, yeah. I mean, I totally understand people's qualms about not wanting to get the vaccine. I mean, it's just a history in America that it's not always necessarily a vaccine that you're getting or receiving. You know what I'm saying? And it may be 2020 and people may say that, oh, well, we're so far past that, you got to give it a chance for whatnot. But if certain individuals aren't taking it, what makes you think that the common individual is supposed to be uncomfortable with it. I mean, Trump tweeted out that nobody in the White House is taking the vaccine anytime soon. So why would you volunteer to take it if other people aren't taking it? I mean, it's just simple. You know what I'm saying? I don't really, it's not really much more that I can say about it than I didn't discuss last week as far as why people may feel a certain way about taking it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it is what it is. And then, until certain individuals start taking it, then I just think that's how most people are going to feel about it.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not mad at that, Jay Moore. What you think?
Well, you know, last week when we talked about, you know, Lupe and the vaccine, and we didn't do so much of a deep dive on it, but it was a whole thing to where, you know, I referenced the Tuskegee experiment. You know, like I said, people think that so far ago, it was the early 70s when it was discovered exactly what was going on. I'm born in the 70s. So to me, there's that line of demarcation as far as the government aligning itself with a conspiracy that's specifically against black people is not that far away. Right. And also when we're talking about modern times, we're also talking about how black women have an infant mortality rate or just a mortality rate while giving birth that would rival that of a third world country, because doctors just don't have the same bedside manner when it comes to dealing with us. Like, we can go in with a certain level of pain and people just don't believe it. Like, what's crazy during the whole, one of the reasons like why the opioid crisis has hit white America so hard. Well, because, like, of course, they trust doctors more and they go to the doctor a little bit more often. But also when black people go in and they're actually in pain, doctors are less likely to believe them. So they won't prescribe them, 6 months worth of Percocets, So, unfortunately, that's where racism has worked in our favor to where we're not being diagnosed. We're not being prescribed the same pain meds and these are supposed to be educated, smart people. Like, I saw a study where there are doctors, once again, doctors, people who went through medical school, and, were able to pass all their boards that's still in 2020, or maybe it wasn't 2020. I'm sorry. Because I don't think they'd have a study that I could actually look at, but where, even if it's from a couple of years ago, we're not talking about the 1950s and 60s, to where doctors feel that, they feel like black people don't feel pain the same way white people do. And so these are the kind of medical biases that lead to a level of distrust within the black community, and then extending itself into hip hop. Now, with that said, I would tell people to do their own reading. Like,
I was waiting on somebody to say that. I was waiting on somebody to say that.
And where, because they were like, well, they got to give you the coronavirus to put. That's not the case with this particular vaccine.
They don't even give you the coronavirus with this vaccine.
Exactly. Like, and you may like his music, NLE Chopper or Offset, but I don't remember them being published in the New England Journal of Medicine. That's not to dismiss them completely,
facts.
But
that's facts.
There are black doctors who, and plus the vaccine was developed by a black woman. Like, I'm not saying that that's automatically going to make it the most righteous thing ever, but it leads me to, it gives me a little bit more comfort than
knowing that a black, that she made it or was responsible for.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for one of the vaccines. But, and like I said, last week, I want people to really think about this. They're giving this to doctors and nurses first. These are the people who say there is something, they didn't do their due diligence with this vaccine. If the vaccine winds up killing them, then it doesn't matter. We're all done for anyway, because we're not going to be any doctors or nurses to treat us. So I do think they did.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be. That's the thing with me is I don't necessarily trust the process as far as certain people saying that they're getting it and are actually receiving that vaccine. Just like,
and I understand that
the first person that took it on American soil was a black woman, I believe, that took it. When was that? Yesterday?
It was a couple of days ago. I've been seeing it I've been seeing several doctors say, look, I'm taking the vaccine.
But easy it is to say that, though.
Lines.
You know how easy it is to say that?
Right.
Yeah.
It is easy to say that, but this is the thing. Like, I want look, I want people to do their own research. Like we talked about meme knowledge before.
Oh,
and there's a lot of people out here doing meme knowledge. Like, oh, I saw this on brother Ankh 54's Instagram page. You know what I'm saying? Like it's mad koofies on his page, you know, but like, you know, and,
what's his Instagram? What's his Instagram name? Other what?
I can't even remember what I said. But I'm just saying, like, there's, you know, there are people who are, you know, because groupthink works both ways. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not telling everybody to groupthink and just go ahead and, you know, be all in for the vaccine. But I'm also saying, like, don't be groupthink in for the conspiracy either.
You know, Koofy memes will send you all the way the fuck off if you don't be careful. Like, Koofy memes will really send you off. To Jay Moore's point about doing your research, like, there's a line that I don't think we really step across to actually do that, because in today's era, literally, like, there's been times where I saw something, I thought I read it. Terry will text me and be like, bro, take that down. That's fake, right? As a real friend would. And I call myself a person that would look at something and be like, nah, this is bullshit. So you can imagine the people that just see stuff that is shared and just share it. No thought, no reading, no anything. And how many people are going to be sent off by that post? And then it trickles down and continues to trickle down. So
I don't know, man.
There's past 4 years have been rampant with that.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I see you as somebody that actually reads the articles.
Read articles. I definitely read the articles. On this, I'm definitely gonna read the articles.
You see, you're a headliner, right?
It's way
headliner.
It's way more people are getting their education on social media versus actual education.
Yeah.
Than I think ever in life, because there's literally people that call themselves.
They call
themselves experts and smart and intelligent, based on stuff that they've read on Facebook or whatever video wormhole they went down on YouTube. Just because somebody made a video does not make it fact. And I think that's what people's problem are today. They discredit the shit that's actually fact. And if you're not riding with the fact, that means you're what's the term they call everybody now that believe in actual facts? You're a sheep. You're a sheep if you believe in facts.
Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, all of that is good money. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy out here that people feel that way and are going through those certain steps to prove why not to get the vaccine. So I definitely agree with you on that, as far as doing your education to figure it out on your own.
No, I mean,
look,
this is the thing. I can learn how to fix the brakes on my car if I watch a YouTube video. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, that doesn't, just because when the next video comes up and it says, yo, you can cure cancer and AIDS by eating this many almonds and mixing up some ginger root, and like, I understand, like, there's so much. I'm not, and I understand, like, I'm not trying to down anybody, you know, but once again, YouTube knowledge, and like a lot of times that's why people like Instagram so much, because you can see a picture and then you can see maybe 3 or 4 sentences and move on, and you think that you've done the reading.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you right now, that doesn't mean you've done the reading, especially like you could be groupthink on both ends. I just want people to remember that.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/bringingdowntheband, and join our private Discord community with talks on hip-hop, music, news, and everything else.